everybody, this is Hybrid.
And this is WhiteSheep.
And this is Comic Book Versus number 23 with Kraven.
And Bane.
Now, note, this is comic book Bane, but I put the Arkham Asylum Bane up there because we tried getting the new 52 designs, or at least the most recent designs of the selected character. But the problem is, when it comes to like Bane, all the new 52 Bane really is, appearance-wise, is Arkham Asylum, and also I couldn't get a good picture, so I just used that picture. So,
yeah.
But yeah, and also it's not the Nolanverse Bane, so please do not comment below about Nolanverse Bane because that's totally different from comic book Bane when you really think about it. But
yeah, don't mention Tom Hardy. Even though I like Tom Hardy a lot, don't mention anything about Nolan. So
yeah,
this is not the comic book, or this is the comic book. This is not the movie.
Yes.
There is actually Venom.
Yeah, Venom is in this. Also, Kraven has his potions, which is why we chose these two characters, actually, because Kraven and Bane, they're both, against their respective heroes, being Spider-Man and Batman, they both broke them, or at least they defeated them in a... Actually, I think that's more proper word. Defeated them in a major way. Bane, by breaking Batman's back. Kraven, if you actually read Kraven's Last Hunt, you know, even though he kind of cheated in the process of doing it, but you could argue Bane cheated too. He eventually buries Spider-Man and wears the black suit for a while. Like, not the real black suit, but a replica. It's really confusing. Overall, though, they're two great, complex villains when you actually read into them. Like, sure, when you look at them from the outside, they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. But when you actually read them, you really get to know the characters, and it's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, both of them star in what are considered to be two of the greatest arcs of the respective characters. I mean, with Bane, it's Nightfall. With Kraven, it's Kraven's Last Hunt, of course.
Yeah.
Both very, very dark stories for their respective characters.
Yes. So I'll start first with Kraven the Hunter, and his real name is Sergei Kravenov. He's Russian, if you couldn't tell. So he likes vodka. Powers and abilities. Normally, he has a genius intellect. Is a master tactician, tracker, and combatant. He's a skilled chemist. He also has enhanced longevity, limited immortality, and peak human conditioning. Now, the longevity and limited immortality comes very recently when he was resurrected, and part of that resurrection is that he can only be killed by Spider-Man. That was tested when the Hulk basically beat him what would have been to death in the previous Hulk comic, and he didn't die, and he came back. So that's that, but you can still, like, you know, break him, I guess, in Bane terms. You can still break him and things like that. You just can't kill him. So that's the thing. And with potions, he gains superhuman physical abilities. Being strength, which is a level 3 star because of the potion. He has peak human strength of a male, but with the potions, he can lift up to 2 tons. Speed, level 3 star. He has peak human speed of a human male, but with potions can move at enhanced speeds. That being like around Spider-Man speeds. We can get more into that some later probably. But fighting, level 6. He's a master combatant. He's trained himself to fight wild beasts with little to no effort. Like, I'm talking about multiple lions and tigers and leopards and all those things. Multiple ones of them too at the same time, and winning without really a scratch on him, which does take a lot of talent, training, and skill if you do not know that. Then we go to durability, level 7 star. He would have like normal / enhanced durability normally, but because he was cursed and is only able to be killed by Peter Parker now, therefore he is pretty much invulnerable to death. And especially with the whole Superior Spider-Man things, kind of he's never going to die now unless Peter Parker comes back. So that brings us to intelligence, level 5. He is a genius, a master tactician, tracker, and skilled chemist. The potions, that was all him. He's also very skilled with other toxins from various creatures, other herbs, you know, things like that. Like, very skilled in medicine, things you would need to be a very skilled hunter. He basically has. So, and then energy projection, he doesn't have any. So, don't worry about that.
All right. I have Bane. His real name is not given. A little background on Bane. Grew up in an Argentine prison. His father was a rebel of some sort, and
He does not sound like this. This is not Bane.
No, he's actually Hispanic. Bane actually served his father's prison sentence. I believe it's because his father escaped, but he served.
Yeah, that was like the rule.
As the child of his
King Cobra.
of his father, he served his father's prison sentence. Like I mentioned in the intro, Nightfall probably my favorite. Among
You have that
in
upstairs.
my opinion, it's my favorite Batman arc. Up there to me with the greatest kind of Batman runs. I think it's up there with Killing Joke and Death in the Family, honestly, as one of the best stories. Certainly an interesting one. Batman actually gets beaten
Finally.
by Bane, finally, yes. And it's really because someone out-Batmaned Batman.
Yeah.
When you get into it, it's because Bane did what Batman does. He prepped and he followed and he had a plan and he followed his plan and it worked. I was really excited for Dark Knight Rises because of Bane too, but and I thought they would stick closer to Nightfall, but they didn't. Anyways, all right, powers and abilities. Normally, Bane has a genius intellect. He received classical training while he was in prison, I guess, maybe. If he was throwing cable TV around in The Dark Knight Rises, I guess. But he also is a master tactician and combatant, possesses a photographic memory, knows many languages, both active and dead, is a trained escapologist. His body is in peak human condition, and he is a polymath. With Venom, he gains superhuman physical abilities and enhanced healing. Strength, level 3. He has peak human strength of a male his height and build, but with Venom, he can lift 3 tons. Speed, he's a level 3. He has the peak human speed of, once again, a male with his height and build, but with Venom he can move at enhanced speeds, so he's not just bulky, he can actually move quickly. Fighting is level 6, he's mastered various forms of hand-to-hand combat while also creating new styles. But durability, he's level 3. He has the normal durability for a human male. With Venom, he is able to withstand explosions, powerful blunt force, bullets, etc. And I'll mention something about Kraven's durability afterwards. Intelligence is level 5, he's a genius. He's studied various branches of science and math, history, geography, medicine, military strategies, at Peña Duro, which is his the prison.
Yeah.
He also knows Spanish, French, German, Russian, Mandarin, English, Farsi, Dari, some Urdu, and Latin. And he has no energy projection. Now, before we go any farther, I'd like to mention something about Kraven's durability. I believe we should disregard the fact that he's immortal.
Well,
because
that's
the
his
fact that I get it, it's his stats, but the fact that he can't die sort of elevates him past Bane, I believe. The fact that he's actually only Peter Parker can kill him sort of basically means Bane's not going to win either way. It's not a fair fight if he has that.
Well, not really, because Bane could cripple the crap out of Kraven.
He could cripple the crap out of him, but he still won't die.
Well, yeah, but this isn't to the death. This
And
is
I still think, I honestly think he would cripple the crap out of him.
Probably. I think. Now, also, I want to quickly mention one of my favorite Spider-Man titles is Spider-Man Blue, which the main villain is Kraven the Hunter. So I find it interesting.
Spider-Man Blue's a good one.
Kraven's in there. WhiteSheep mentioned Nightfall, Bane's. Yeah. But moving on from that, I think that, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Bane and Kraven go up against each other. I think after a while of fighting, Bane would realize that Kraven, he's really hard to kill. So he would probably, instead of trying to kill him, he'd probably just try breaking him. Mm-hmm. I think that's what would happen, because he doesn't have to kill him. He just needs to, I guess, put him out of commission, I guess, so to speak. But when you do look at the stats, Bane is stronger than Kraven.
Well, I mean, given this comparative chart right here, it does not look like they're the same, like 3 bars. However, Bane in his stats and the actual stats, and just not in this, Bane is actually about 2,000 pounds more lifting power.
Yeah, it's just because of the how the range is for each level. But
so don't let that mislead you.
Bane's able to lift like a ton more than Kraven could with potions. Speed, they're pretty even there. Fighting ability, I'd have to give that to Bane. Like, I know I'm supposed to take Kraven the Hunter, and actually, it can go both ways, because while Bane is trained, Kraven fights people like Spider-Man, who has a proportionate speed of a spider, which, you gotta admit, that's pretty fast.
That's quick.
And also, he fights wild beasts. So I think fighting style, they could be pretty even there, because Kraven obviously would most likely have a more savage approach initially, while Bane would probably have a more, not formal, but more trained approach.
See, and this is another reason, another way
I love this matchup.
I do too. It's actually, I never would have thought of it, but another thing that, another way movies have killed Bane is everyone assumes, hey, Bane's a big guy, because big guys are typically dumb. Bane must be an idiot. He must just be this giant fighting mule or something like that, which is not the case at all.
No.
Bane is actually really freaking smart. He's the combination of brains and brawn. That's why I hate the Schumacher movies in Batman, especially, what was that, Batman and Robin?
I'd rather not.
I'd rather
remember.
not think about it. But that killed Bane because everyone's like, oh, Bane's an idiot. He's just this brute. I'm like, no, he's a genius.
Yeah, and then Nolan's Bane, it seemed like it would touch upon it, but it went so far off of the comic book Bane to the point where you could have renamed the character and it would have made no difference.
Basically.
But that's not... We aren't going to go into this in this video.
I just think
that's
that a lot of you might think, you might look at a picture of Bane and be like, oh, he's just an idiot. But no, he's not. He's
not an idiot.
He's a genius. He's as smart. He's as smart as Kraven, and I would dare say more tactical.
Bane is more smart. I'd say... And here, I know I'm supposed to be taking Kraven, but there's no fighting it. Bane is smarter than Kraven. And sure, with training, with preparation, Bane would probably blow away Kraven at a first glance, just like he did Batman, because he'd have a plan, and kind of like what WhiteSheep said, Bane out Batman, so that says a lot. But with Kraven, though, probably for all of his intelligence, all he'd really be able to do is track Bane down and maybe come up with a mild strategy, because, example, in Spider-Man Blue, he sent all these villains at Spider-Man to test Spider-Man's abilities, like Vulture really tests Spider-Man's speed and, I guess, evasiveness. Yeah, Rhino to test his strength and durability. Things like that.
It's very similar to what Bane did in Nightfall, which is let everyone out of Arkham. Take a little while, let Batman try and round him up. Batman gets sick, and then basically, while Batman thinks that Batman's like, finally, I rounded up every person from Arkham Asylum. He comes back home to the Batcave. I think he's been running around with the flu. He's been running around. It took him like, what was it, Firefly? It took him like 3 weeks to beat Firefly, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, like, he was just worn down.
He was worn down, and Bane sneaks up and destroys him, basically. And so I think they're very, very similar characters, and I love this matchup. I would have never thought of this, but it works.
So, I think, honestly, when it comes down to it, Bane would win.
Woo!
Because this fight would not come down to killing. Because here's the thing, Kraven doesn't like killing his opponents, so, like, he's more of a trophy getter, so he'd like to...
No, Kraven only liked killing himself.
Yeah, but for Kraven, especially nowadays, he'd be more the type of person that he'd do it for the trophy. Like, basically, he wouldn't kill Bane, but he'd be more of the thing
where,
like...
take his mask.
Yeah, like, he'd take his mask, or he'd capture him, or put him in a way, like, put him down in a way where he couldn't retaliate, but, he's still, like, Kraven's. Yeah. Similarly, Bane would probably do that. Like, he would probably... I guess in general, Bane terms,
I like the '80s hairband jacket you have. I'm gonna take that.
So
it's
very close.
I agree. I think Bane would win, but I want to bring in one last devil's advocate point. This was brought up a lot during our matchup with our Bane Captain America, the special matchup.
Yeah, the Super Serum matchup.
Yes. Would Bane run out of Venom, and would that be an issue? He's got a big tank on his back. I mean, you can see that in the picture. But if he ran out, would the effects of the withdrawal and the fact that he was not as powerful, the immediate effects of not having Venom, would that be enough to give Kraven the victory? Consider that.
Definitely.
Maybe, but I think he wouldn't run out.
I think Bane would be prepared for that. And also, when you think about Kraven, he's taking potions to gain these superhuman abilities.
Basically, yeah.
So similarly, what happens when Kraven runs out?
Yeah.
What happens to his body? What happens with withdrawal? Things like that. So again, very similar characters. Like, sure, there's a few slight differences, but at the core, they're the same characters. That's what makes it great. So it's up to you guys. Vote in the polls.
Lots of things to consider.
Comment below if you're on comicbookmovie.com. Like the page that this is on, so more people can view it. Get the votes in, and we'll see you guys in the finale.
All right, see ya.
All right, see ya. This is
Who
Hybrid.
wins in the Battle of Accents? This is WhiteSheep.
See ya.